Hello, everybody. I just wanted to go over Matthew chapter 24. Um, because I got a lot of people arguing with me about this pre-trib rapture thing. I mean, you guys, I don't know where you're getting in the Bible where there's a pre-trib rapture. There's not a rapture before tribulation. There's nowhere in the Bible. I'm not saying that there isn't anywhere in the Bible where there isn't a rapture. I never said that there wasn't going to be a rapture. I said there's not going to be a rapture before tribulation. And a lot of people are upset about my pre-trib, there's no pre-trib rapture video. Well, I mean, if you don't, if you don't believe what the God words, the word of God says, then that's not my problem. And I knew that there was another Bible verse and another chapter in the Bible that explained this other than Revelation, other than just having to overcome and endure and all that stuff that it talks about in Revelation. And I'm in the book of Matthew right now, and I've been reading the Bible. This is my second go around reading the Bible, and I've been learning so much, and God has been revealing to me so much through the Word and through other Bible studies that I've been doing with other people. And, like my brother Daniel, he's in the book of Galatians right now. And although I might not comment on each video, I've been watching each video. And man, it has been a great study. And my sister Allie, she's been going through Ephesians and Acts and all different kinds of books. And man, it has truly edified me. And I want to say thanks to you guys, because there's very few people on YouTube, and my brother Derek and my sister Nikki are going through Revelation, and that's truly edified me as well, and I really want to thank you guys for sticking to the word and and reading the word, because that's what we need as fellowship, is to stick to the word, and to use the word, as a double-edged sword. And if I find something in the word that's different, and I'm wrong about something, then I will gladly come on here and say that I'm wrong. But until I see something different when it comes to like the pre-trib rapture thing, then I will look at it. I had somebody comment not very long ago on my last video about Israel. Oh, well, the Bible's cool and all to read, but you shouldn't go buy the Bible. Well, why shouldn't you go buy the Bible? This is the word of God. It's not just some cool novel that somebody wrote. You know what I mean? This is the book that God gave us. It's not just some cool folklore novel that somebody wrote. This is what God wrote to us. So, yeah, I'm going to go by the Bible. I don't care what anybody says. So, okay, Matthew chapter 24. And I'm just going to start down where Jesus talks a whole lot. In verse 4, and Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. He's telling you, people are going to say that I'm Christ. Do not be deceived, because they're lying. And he's also saying, don't worry, don't be troubled. There's going to be wars, and you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. He's telling you right here, the end is not yet. Don't be troubled. The end is not yet. And let me say another thing here. Even if the end was tomorrow, or even if things get bad tomorrow, don't be troubled. Especially if you know Jesus Christ is with you. What do you have to be troubled over? Even if somebody rips you from your house and puts you on your knees and is going to slay you as a martyr, and as scary as that sounds and as scary as that is, do not be troubled. And it's going to be hard not to be scared in these end of days. It's going to be hard not to be scared. And it's not about being scared. It's about having the courage to continue to do what's right, whether it be you're a martyr or whether it be to preach the gospel on the street and somebody's yelling in your face, because a lot of people, they don't even have the courage to stand up against somebody that is blaspheming the Lord, or they don't have the courage to see when somebody's demonically possessed to rebuke demons. And it's sad to me because it should be the other way around. Since there's so many Christians in churches and so many Christians, but every time something gets sketchy, like somebody comes in the church and they're possessed, or somebody comes in the church and they need help or whatever, they run. That's why so many people are going to take the mark of the beast, and so many people are going to fall for the schemes of the devil, because they're not courageous enough to step up and stand out and do what is right, or do what needs to be done. Because it's so show right now in the church. It is so show in the church right now, it is not even funny. And if it's so show right now in your life, then you're going to be swayed. You're going to be swayed so easily in the end times and when the mark of the beast and all that stuff comes in. Because everything is so show in the church right now. Where, if something sketchy starts happening, somebody comes in that's demonically possessed, or somebody, is a little different and needs help, they go running for the hills instead of having the courage to do what it takes. You know what I mean? And I was watching a video. His name's Marcus Rogers. Cool guy. Cool guy. And he was talking about how a woman come into church and he could tell that she was demonically possessed because her eyes were almost all black. Her eyes were dilated, almost all black. And he said, I went right up to her and I rebuked the demon inside her and I helped her, basically, long story short. And he was like, you'd be surprised. Everybody in the church ran from her. And he's all like, I don't understand that. And I don't understand that either. And I thought it was a really good point. How they all were like, nobody wanted to help this girl. Nobody wanted to go up and rebuke these demons from her. They were all scared. And it's like, it's not about being scared, but, you need to have the courage. And you need to not be troubled when you know you have Jesus Christ with you. If you know Christ is with you, you shouldn't be scared so much to where you're not going to stand up and stand out and do what's right. We have power over those demons in the name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. And that's just one reason out of many reasons that people in the Mark of the Beast days, that's coming up soon, are going to be swayed so easily to take it. Because they run from little peon little demons. So what happens when things get hard? They're going to go, oh, well, I'll take the mark and God will just forgive me. You know, a lot of people are like that right now already. Well, I can go continue to get drunk and high and fornicate and act like a sloot and all this stuff. God'll forgive me. You know, and I'm not one to judge on an individual basis. But I know that we shouldn't be going out and continuing to sin and thinking that it's okay. You know, people are so easily swayed right now as it is to be lukewarm. That God just is just going to forgive all, you know. And yes, he can. That's why I don't judge anybody on their individual walk with Jesus, because I'm not them. I don't know their heart. You know, Jesus Christ Yeshua knows your heart. But I also know that his grace isn't so you can just go out and live whatever you want to live like. You have to live a lifestyle that shows that Jesus is with you. If you're going out getting drunk and high and having sex and showing off your body, you know, you're not representing Jesus Christ when you do that. And thank you for the 3 people that have come in. I've got my chat hidden right now. I will, at the end of this study, read the chat, because I don't want to get distracted. I'm very ADD and I don't want to get distracted by the messages on there until I'm done with the study. But what I'm saying is that people are so lukewarm right now. And they're like, I'll never take the mark of the beast. Really? You'll never take the mark of the beast, but right now you're not willing to even rebuke a demon out of somebody? You go running scared? And I see that too in churches. Like, you know, somebody comes in and they're just a little different or something and they need help. And they judge them and they're not willing to say anything. And it's not because, and I thought it was like, oh, they're so hateful, they're so mean, they're so whatever. And it has nothing to do with that they're hateful or mean or judgmental. They don't want to look bad. You know, everything's so show right now. Oh, well, we don't want that person here because it's going to make us all look bad. Oh, we don't want that person here because, you know, church has become such a clique, like a high school clique anymore, I've noticed. And not every church is like this, but most of the big, like, you know, I'm just going to say it, most of the big Southern Baptist churches I've went to are real cliquey. You know, if you don't come into church looking a certain way and you just got off work but you want to be there to hear the word and you got, you know, sweaty armpits and you're looking like dirt all over your shirt, they don't want you there. Now they might say, oh, hi, you know, whatever, and look all nice. But I've seen it time and time again. Or they're like, my God, you know, what's that guy doing here? Good God, I mean, at least, you know. But instead, when they should be happy that the guy is even there and on fire for Jesus, that he's like, you know what, I just want to go and I want to hear the word. You know? I mean, it's just... And then they think they're like, well, or, you know, we're so on fire for Jesus that we're never going to take the mark of the beast. When you can't even have the courage enough to stand up and stand out and do what's right already, and things haven't even got bad. It's just like people on YouTube. People aren't willing to stand up and stand out against Satanists. Because, oh, well, I don't want to be so... You know, I want to be accepted. Well, if you want to be accepted so much, what's going to happen when shit really hits the fan? You're going to end up taking the mark of the beast because you want to be accepted, or because you don't want to, you're scared to do the right thing. And 9 times out of 10, It's because they don't want to look bad. Or they're trying to get subs, and God forbid if they stand up and stand out and do what's right. Because they know if they do, they're going to get ridiculed or they're going to get bashed. You know? And for one thing, I don't care. I don't care. I know when God tells me, no, you need to correct somebody in this. And whether they like to hear it or not, then I don't care. And your walk is your walk. I'm not here to judge your walk with Jesus Christ. I'm not here to tell you whether you're saved or not. But I also know that Jesus Christ didn't die on the cross so you could just go out and be half naked, dancing around, acting like a sloot, and thinking it's okay. Going around acting like you're oh so righteous, but you're smoking pot and you're drinking and you're getting drunk and acting like, oh, it's okay. Going around thinking you're oh so righteous, abiding by the law 100% and all this, but yet you're smoking, you're fornicating. Oh, but Jesus will forgive me of that. And maybe he might. I'm not the one here to tell you whether you're going to hell or not. But I just know it's a slippery slope. Very slippery slope. Very slippery slope. And I see people slipping on top of that slope. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're slipping. You don't want to go down that slope. And people are like, I'm fine, I got it. It's like, well, you keep going the way you're going, you're gonna fall and you're gonna go down that slope. Is that what you want? You know what I mean? You can't be going out thinking that Jesus is just gonna save you from everything. You have accountability. You have to have accountability for your actions. We're all gonna be accountable for the things that we've done. And you can't just go out sinning nimbly bimbly. And there's a lot of people in the church that do the same exact thing. They go to church on Sunday and they're oh so righteous on Sunday. And oh, I'm going to be forgiven of all my sins because Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. And that gives them a free ticket to do whatever they want for the rest of the week. To get drunk, to go to the bar and have sex, and to do whatever they want, and it's okay, and it's all good in the hood because Jesus died for that. When the adulterous woman was thrown at Jesus Christ's feet, he said, I forgive you. You are forgiven. Okay? But nobody wants to go past that point. Nobody wants to hear the next thing he says. And he says, now go and sin no more. Doesn't say, oh, you're forgiven, go ahead and go and continue to be a prostitute. Go ahead and go and continue and be lukewarm. No, he says, go and sin no more. People don't want to hear that part, though. And ain't nobody perfect. But you have to try with all your heart and all your soul to do what's right. You can't just be going out and fornicating and being half naked, shaking your ass all over YouTube and think that it's okay. And I've had to learn that I have to, I'm not the judge of those people. But I also have to separate myself from those people. That I am on a different walk than they are. And I can't continue to associate with people that are on that type of walk. Because I don't want to fall back on that slippery slope again. And you have to realize the people that you associate yourself with, let's say, For example, I quit smoking pot. And I know God doesn't want me to smoke pot anymore. And I want to be a watchman on the wall. And in order for me to be a watchman on the wall, God wants me to be alert and aware and sober. That means I can't associate myself and surround myself around with people that are smoking pot all the time. Because that's going to influence me to slip and maybe start to smoke pot again. And I used to be a girl that wore her clothes half naked, had her tits hanging out and her butt hanging out. If I continue to hang out with people that are doing that, I'm going to be influenced to do that again. And listen, the reason why I did that was for attention. And every single woman that does that does it for attention. I don't care what you say. It's the truth of the matter. And I, for one, had to realize that I could get attention without dressing like that. That I could have fun in life without getting stoned all the time. And that's just my personal walk and where it has come to be. And I don't want to slip back onto that slippery slope of smoking weed and being half naked and going to the bar and all that stuff. I can't associate with people that are doing that. Not because I'm judging them, not because I know their heart or anything, not because they're going to hell. I don't know that. That's for God to judge, not me. But I can't associate myself with people that do that. And I've also noticed a guy, and I won't say his name, but one minute he'll come on my channel and be like, oh yeah, those people are sick. And then he'll go on their channel and be like, oh, I think you're cool. I think you're a great person. But yet this person is sinning, like, a lot. Yet this person is smoking weed and that person might be a good person. And I'm not saying that person's not a good person. But what I'm saying is, one minute you're like, this person is sick. This person's sick. And then you get on their channel and, oh, you're such a good person. I'm tired of the two-faced people. Don't think I don't notice that. I notice that, God, you're fake. Oh, these people are so sick, but then you get on there, oh, you're such a great person and all this. Where they're sick one day, but then the next person, they're, oh, such a good person. And I'm not saying they're not a good person. What I'm saying is I can't affiliate with people that are not on the same walk and the same path that I am on, because I don't want to be influenced by that anymore. Because I don't want to get off the path that I need to be. God has got me on a path that He wants me on right now, and I refuse to influence myself with people that are going to influence me that might get me off the path that God's will is for me right now. And it doesn't mean I'm judging you. It just means I want to stay in what the will of God has for me. And if I surround myself with people that are smoking pot all the time, then, I might be influenced to go to slide back. A backslider. I don't want to backslide. I've done that plenty enough in my life. I'm not going to be backsliding no more. And every time I've backslid, it's because I've got around the wrong people. I start getting influenced by the wrong people, and I gotta stay steadfast, and I gotta keep looking forward, and I gotta keep doing God's will, and I can't be influenced by these people anymore. I can't do it. So anyway, I got yapping for 24 minutes instead of doing what I was supposed to be doing, which is talking about Matthew chapter 24. Verse 5, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Jesus is telling you, the end is not yet. Do not be troubled. Verse 7, For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Beginning of sorrows, you guys. I haven't heard anything about a rapture yet. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. This is what I feel like is getting ready to happen here soon, with the way Israel's going, with these no-hide laws, and how Israel is stuck like in the Old Testament ways, and how the stage is being set for the Antichrist in Israel. And here soon, just wait, Christians are going to be starting to be persecuted. Christians are going to have to start hiding. And it's just going to be one thing after another thing after another thing that's just been getting set up to slowly roll this in place. Slowly roll this in place. And this is what Jesus is saying. This is slowly going to be, it's going to start out as rumors, and then it's going to slowly roll into place for the Antichrist to start doing his biddings. Verse 10, And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. There's going to be a lot of separation. And a lot of people are going to start hating on each other. That goes for a lot of people in your life. Your family, your friends, your people that you go to church with. You know what I mean? People are going to start squabbling and hating each other on things. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And I cannot help but say this when I read that verse. These false prophets that say that they're one of the two witnesses, or that they're Ezekiel, or that they're Moses, or that they're whatever, or the saint, whatever is Pope at the Vatican, or whatever. These are all false prophets. And they are going to deceive a lot of people. I mean, look how many people are deceived by the Pope. And he's just another false prophet, along with many false prophets right now. This is where we're at right now. It's just the truth. This is where we're at right now. Verse 12, And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. This is where I'm saying that you can't just go sin nimbly bimbly. When I read this, I feel like he's saying the love of many shall wax cold. Saying that kind of like how the Pope is. Let's just love everybody. Love everybody. Verse 13, But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. You have to endure until the end. He's not saying, oh, endure until the beginning of tribulation, and then I'm going to just zap you out of here, and you're all going to fly to heaven. No, he's saying you have to endure till the end. Verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. He's saying this gospel has to be preached to the ends of the earth, and then the end shall come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. He's saying, I told you in the book of Daniel that the Antichrist, the abomination of desolation, is going to stand in the holy place and proclaim that he's God. Verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. When that happens, those that are in Judea need to flee to the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to his clothes. In other words, you are to flee at that time. You're not to go down to your house and grab extra garments or extra food or extra anything. You are to hightail it out of there ASAP. Like, go. There is no going back to your house going, okay, I probably better get a couple more things. Nope. No time for that. Verse 19, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. This is saying, woe to you that have babies at this time, because it's going to be hard for you to take care of a child, a suckling child that needs formula, that needs diapers, that needs all this stuff. It's going to be hard at this time to take care of a baby at the beginning of the end times when you're running for your lives, when you're trying to just find water to survive for a day. But pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, nor on the Sabbath day. Now, a lot of people think, well, that's why the Sabbath is so important, because it says right here, neither on the Sabbath day, because if you're running on the Sabbath, then that means you're not keeping the Sabbath, because you're running and you da-da-da-da-da. And that's not what he's saying here. But I'll go into that later. I've already went into that before with On Point Preparedness, another great channel to watch, On Point Preparedness. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And he's saying, then shall be great tribulation. This is the tribulation right here. He's not saying I'm sucking you out of here and you're getting to go to fly and go to heaven. He's saying this is tribulation. Not once yet has he said, I'm going to rapture you out of here. Not once has he said, believers in Christ are getting out of tribulation and I'm going to beam you up, Scotty, and you out of here. Nope. He hasn't said that yet. The whole coming in the clouds and the whole one's in the field and one gets taken hasn't happened yet, guys. This is Jesus saying this, not me. And he didn't, go out of order here or anything. It's in order. Jesus said this stuff in order. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Great tribulation is going to be so rough. It's going to be worse than the flood of Noah. It's going to be worse than any war we've ever seen in our lives. It's going to be it's going to be bad, you guys. It's going to be roughest of the rough that's ever happened to anybody in the entire world. I don't care where you live. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care how rough you think you got it. Whether you got a roof above your head or whether you're scraping by and don't even living in the dirt in the African desert or the Indian desert or wherever, this is going to be worse than that. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, whose days shall be shortened. He's saying the elect, his chosen people, and let me say this, a lot are called and few are chosen. The ones that he's called and the ones that have met up to par, and I'm not here to tell you who is met up to par. That's not my job to decide that. It's only Jesus' job to decide who's the chosen. It'll be shortened. Doesn't say they're going to be swept out at the beginning of tribulation. It's going to be shortened. Doesn't say you're not going to have to deal with any of it. But it will be shortened for his chosen people. Verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there be, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. There are going to be people out here that are going to claim to be Christ. And they're going to heal people. And they're going to cast demons away. And they are going to do all signs and wonders. And people are going to believe that they're Jesus. And he's saying, they're going to say, go to the desert and say he's out in the desert. Don't go. Or go out in the woods. He's out in the woods. Don't go. Listen, when Jesus Christ comes back, you're going to know. It's not going to be some man out in the woods. It's not going to be some guy out in the desert. No matter what they do. I don't care if they're healing people by just touching them on the forehead or making, bread rise up out of the dirt or what they're doing. I don't care what miracles they're doing. When Jesus comes back, you're going to know without a doubt. There ain't going to be no doubt when Jesus really comes. So don't be deceived. And also, let me say this. If it were possible, he's not saying it is possible. He's saying if it were possible. Even the elect are going to stand there and go, wow, this guy is doing some great things. He's doing some crazy miracles here. They might even second guess it. But if it were possible, he didn't say that it was going to be. I personally don't believe the elect are going to be deceived. Now, the elect might stand there and double think it, but at the end of the day, they're going to go, no, this isn't him. If it were possible, not that it is possible. Verse 25, behold, I have told you before, and let me say this, I'm not a minister, I'm not a pastor, I'm just on here reading the Bible, telling you what the Father tells me through His Word. It's kind of a Bible study if you know. 25, behold, I have told you before. Verse 26, wherefore if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. He's saying, the coming of the Son of Man is going to be as lightning that cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west. You're going to know. It is going to lightning like fires in the sky. That lightning is going to go all the way from the east to the west. Not talking about a lightning bolt that like shines and, all beautiful across the whole horizon. No. He's saying this lightning is going to be so bright and so big, it's going to shine all the way from the east all the way to the west, all the way from the east of the ends of the earth all the way to the west of the ends of the earth. You're going to know. It's going to be big, and it's going to be bright, and it's going to be noticeable. You're going to know when God comes. It's not going to be some guy healing people out in the woods or the desert or in some chamber somewhere. Verse 28, for whosoever shall carcass is there with the eagles be gathered together. Basically, where there's a carcass, something dead laying on the ground, people are going to flock to it. He's using that as a metaphor, how people are so easily swayed and are so unclean that they're just going to flock to it. They're going to flock to it like a bunch of eagles or like a bunch of, predator, whatever the big birds of prey, like a big bird of prey are going to people are just going to flock right to it. They're going to flock right to these false prophets. They're going to flock right to all these unclean people that say that they're Christ and are doing all these miracles and stuff. Just like a dead carcass in the middle of the woods. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, still hasn't talked about a rapture here. He's talking about tribulation here. Still hasn't said anything about a rapture. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's going to be crazy. Now, whether that be meteors falling from the sky, the stars all fall all at once, that's going to be crazy when that happens. Whether that be a pole shift or whatever it is, we're going to know it when it happens. And we're all still going to be here. Jesus hasn't said anything about a rapture yet, guys. No pre-trib rapture. He's talking about tribulation right now. There still hasn't been a rapture. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. He's going to come from the sky, you guys. It's not going to be some guy out in the woods healing people. It's not going to be some guy out in the woods or in the desert or in somewhere doing miracles. It's going to be noticeable. He's going to be, coming from the sky, and it's going to be, without a doubt, Jesus. You're going to know. So after tribulation, Jesus says, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall give her light. The stars will fall from heaven and the heavens shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of trumpets, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to another. This is when the rapture happens. Not before tribulation. If anything, at the end of tribulation. After the stars fall from heaven. After the earth is shaking. After all of the false prophets. After tribulation. And it is here, in order, Jesus is telling them and us. This is the order it'll go in. This is what it'll look like. Do not be deceived by this, and this. This is what's going to happen. Until God appears from the sky with his angels trumpeting. This is not going to happen before tribulation. And it specifically says that right here. I don't know why anybody wants to come on here and bicker and fight about a pre-trib rapture when there's not going to be a pre-trib rapture, you guys. There's not. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to another. We are his elect. And we are supposed to endure during these times. And to not be deceived by these false prophets and these false Christs. And we're going to go through tribulation. And he's going to test his people through tribulation. Who are the ones that are going to stand firm? I tell you what, tribulation is going to be hard on lukewarm people that aren't reading their Bible. The people that are lukewarm, that are not reading their Bible, they're going to be deceived. They're going to think so-and-so out in the desert's the Christ. They're going to take the mark of the beast. But the elect, his chosen people, are not going to be deceived, and they're going to endure until Jesus comes with his angels, and his angels are going to gather us. Not before tribulation, after tribulation. I'm not saying there's not a rapture. I'm saying there's not a rapture before tribulation. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. Verse 32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. He's using this as an example. He's not saying that the end times is necessarily going to happen in the summer, okay? He's literally just said this is a parable. In other words, this is an example. This is a metaphor. Basically, everything that he just said what was going to happen, he's like, you're going to see all this stuff. Just like you would see a tree starting to spread its leaves, you're going to know that summer is near. And he's saying, when all this stuff happens, wars and rumor of wars, people out in the desert saying that they're Jesus when they're not Jesus, people out there, doing miracles and all this stuff, saying they're Jesus, and people being deceived in the mark of the beast and tribulation and the stars falling and all this stuff. When you see these signs, just like when a tree sprouts its roots, you're going to know that I'm coming soon. Just like when you know when spring is around, when the trees start to spread its little buds, starts budding, that you know summer is close. You're going to know when Jesus is close. You're going to know when Jesus is coming soon. Just like when you know when all the signs that happen before summer comes. He's using it as an example. He's using it as a metaphor. He's not saying necessarily that tribulation is going to happen in the summertime. A lot of people take that and go, oh my God, well that means, tribulation is going to happen in the summer. No, he's using this as a metaphor. So likewise, when ye shall see all those things, know that it is near and even at the doors. Verse 34, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. All these things have to be fulfilled. All the things that we just went through in this chapter have to be fulfilled before the Lord comes. Tribulation has to be fulfilled before he comes. What part of that are people not understanding? And listen, I would love for there to be a pre-trib rapture. I would love to be raptured out of this horrible tribulation that's getting ready to happen. But that is not the truth. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it and go, oh, we're going to just be all raptured and we're just going to fly away. We're just going to fly right away into the clouds with Jesus, and we're just not going to have to endure nothing, and we're just not going to have to overcome nothing. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to have to overcome. We're going to have to endure. And we're going to be tried, and we're going to be tempted. We're going to be tempted over and over and over and over again with false prophets, with false Christs. And we have to pray, and we have to endure, and we have to ask for God to enlighten us in these days so that we're not deceived. Not just go to church every Sunday and act like you're all good in the hood on Sunday to make yourself feel oh so holy, and then the rest of the week, you can't be lukewarm right now. It's time to be top notch right now. You can't be lukewarm right now. You just can't. Many people are going to be deceived. And it's these lukewarm Christians out there that are getting high all the time. You know what I mean? For example, if you were a watchman on the wall and you're looking for somebody, an enemy on the side of the hill, over the hill, and nobody's come yet, no enemy has come yet, and you're like, you know what, it's cool, I'm just going to go ahead and backslide, nothing's happened yet, I'm just going to start smoking weed and start partying and start, fornicating, getting naked, try to get attention, and start focusing your mind and your spirit on other things of this world, fleshly desires, like acceptance, attention, all this other stuff, instead of focusing on Jesus and looking at that horizon and making sure, being that watchman on the wall, making sure there's no enemy coming. But that's when the enemy's going to come. He's going to come when you're distracted. And then you're going to be deceived. He's going to come when you're cloudy and high and your mind's all clouded with, when you can't judge, where you have a cloudy judgment upon things that are happening. Because you're too big and high, partying, trying to get attention, being half naked, fornicating. I'm telling you, these are the type of people that are going to be deceived because they're more worried about their fleshly desires than they are worried about what's coming up over the hill. And for example, if you had a bodyguard over your 5-year-old child, you hired a bodyguard for your 4-year-old child, would you want him partying and getting high? No, you'd want him alert. You'd want him watching, making sure that nobody's going to come in and hurt your child, making sure that the enemy is not going to come and hurt your child. And that's exactly what we need to be doing spiritually. We need to be keeping our eyes open. That means awake. And you can't be awake when you're so worried about fleshly desires, where you're going to get distracted, and spiritually, the little girl is going to get attacked. Spiritually, your soul and you are going to be deceived. Because you're so worried about the worldly, fleshly desires that you weren't watching. You weren't keeping your brain alert. You weren't stayed awake because you're so busy worried about acceptance or fleshly desires or whatever it is. We've got to stay focused. Right now, we have got to stay focused. It's another reason why I'm not going to associate with these people anymore. Not because they're not good people, but because I got to stay focused. I don't want to get all caught up in acceptance and patting each other on the back so much that I'm not staying focused. And I think that's a very good example. If you're hiring a bodyguard for your 5-year-old child, you wouldn't want him getting drunk and high and getting distracted by earthly, worldly desires, because that's when the enemy's going to come in, and then you're going to be deceived. And I'm using that as a spiritual example. And if you look at it like that, then you will be better to understand that I'm not judging you, that I'm trying to get you to stay focused. Not on the things of this world, but upon Jesus Christ, Yeshua Mashiach. Because right now is not the time to be partying. Right now is not the time. It's not. And trust me, it was hard for me to quit partying myself. And Jesus ripped me from that and said, no, you need to be ready. You need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. Time for partying is over. That's what Jesus told me, straight up. And for 3 years, I was like, no, I want to party. I still want to be of the world. I still want to do this, and I still want to do that, and I still want to have sex, and I still want to smoke weed, and I still want to do all this stuff. And he said, listen, Ashley, you either in or you're out. You're either going to be ready or you're not going to be ready. And if you continue to do the way you're doing, you're not going to be ready. And I had to decide. I had to choose. Do I continue to be lukewarm and have the potential of being deceived because I'm in the world? Or do I want to rely on Jesus Christ alone, do what His will is in my life, and to not be deceived? And I had to make a choice, and everybody needs to make their choice now. There's not time. It's the other thing Jesus told me. There ain't time, Ashley. There ain't time for you to be partying and smoking weed and having sex. You know? And he was kind of like, I'm sorry, Ashley, I'm sorry, but there's just not time. You know? And he said that because he loved me. He didn't say that because he's like, you're going to hell if you don't do this, or this. That's not how he said it. He said it in a very loving way. I don't want you to be deceived, Ashley. You're my child. I love you. And you don't have time anymore to be partying. And I love you, and I know you're having fun, and I know you love me, and I know that you love me. And you're my child. I don't want you getting hurt. I don't want you getting deceived. And the only way that I can help you through this is for you to quit partying. Quit being of the worldly desires. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I don't have my glass of wine every now and then. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the way I was going, I was a very cloudy-minded, wouldn't be able to have a good judgment upon the things that are getting ready to happen. And God was saving me from that. He's like, I don't want you to be deceived. I don't want you to be, but if you continue in this partying and having this clouded judgment, then you are probably going to be deceived. And he didn't want that for me. And I know now, looking back on it, he's trying to protect me. He's not just trying to, God's just trying to take away all the fun. God's just, he loves me. He wants me to be happy. He wants me to have fun. Yeah, he wants you to have fun, but he doesn't want you to have such clouded judgment, and you're so in the world that you're going to be deceived, that you're going to have this clouded judgment. He was trying to protect me from that. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, God, I want to have fun. What's wrong with fun, Lord? Don't take away all my fun. And now I realize I've been having much more fun with Jesus Christ Yeshua than I ever did of the world. Even though I thought I was having all this fun. Now I get high on Jesus showing me things. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. God just showed me this, or he just revealed this to me, or he just gave me a vision, or he just gave me a dream. And then I get up from that vision or that dream, and I'm like, oh my God, and I start writing it down, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Then I realize how much fun I'm having now with Jesus. And how cool it is, and how much more fun it is than I ever thought I was having fun. Okay, sorry, I got all yapping and everything about all that stuff. Okay, so where were we? Verily I say unto you, verse 34, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, But my Father only the Father in heaven who sits on the throne knows when the end is. Not even his angels know when the end is. But as in the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in those days they were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until that day that Noah entered into the ark, which is exactly the same thing I was just saying. People are still going to be doing the same old Jane stuff. They're going to be partying and getting married, and they're still going to be doing all this stuff, and they're not going to be ready. They're not going to be ready. And we got to be ready. We got to be top notch. We got to be ready. Just like in the days of Noah. Noah was ready. He wasn't in the world. He was listening to what God told him. He was keen on to the visions and the dreams that God was giving him. He was like, all right, this is, praying for God's will upon his life. Trying to be top notch, trying to do the best he can with his heart and his soul to be ready for the flood. And everybody else was all sucked up into the world, still getting married, drinking, partying, like nothing was going on, because they were all cloudy judgment. They're like, oh yeah, there's a false Christ here, and there's a false prophet there. Yeah, there's this sign and that sign. But nah, we're going to continue to party. We're going to continue to fornicate. We're going to continue to do all these worldly things. And you're not going to be ready. Just telling you, just like in the days of Noah, a lot of people are not going to be ready for end times. And I'm trying to tell you guys, you better wake up. You better get ready. You better get ready. Because let me tell you what, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late for you guys that are continuing to live in the world. Because you can say you believe all you want. And that's great. I'm not judging your relationship with Jesus Christ, Yeshua. I'm not. But if you don't wake up and you don't get out of these fleshly desires, you're not going to be ready. I mean, period. You're not going to be ready. And I'm not one to judge, because I got a lot of things I still got to do to get ready. But I know I'm preparing myself, and I'm getting ready. I'm not going to continue smoking weed. I'm not going to continue having sex with whoever I think is cute or whatever, and those were just the things that I struggled with. That's just my personal experiences. Because I'm not sitting on here saying I'm any better than anybody else. I'm not sitting here saying that I didn't struggle with any of those things, because I did. I mean, shoot, last night I had half a glass of wine because my uncle come over and we had a blast. We laughed and had fun, and, well, he's my cousin actually, but it's a long story. But he's old enough to be my uncle. My dad has had lots of brothers and sisters, and adopted brothers and sisters, but anyway, I'm kind of everything in moderation, you know what I mean? A little glass of wine don't hurt nobody. But when you're going smoking weed and you're getting drunk and smoking dap all the time and stuff that is ultra concentrated in scientific labs, that's not natural. Marijuana that's being distributed in the dispensaries and medical marijuana that's all has this high potent THC is not natural. I don't care what anybody says. It's not natural. If you were to go out in the woods and get an actual marijuana plant out of the woods in the ditch, in the woods, and smoke it, you're not going to get high. That's why they call it bunk weed, because it's bunk, meaning it doesn't get you high. That's the natural stuff. That's the hemp and all that. And CBD is great for medical purposes, but we need to be staying away from this ultra concentrated THC plants. That is not natural. It's not. Oh, it's so natural and God made it and it's oh so natural. No, it's not. That isn't any more natural than saying that somebody had a natural birth when they created the baby in a science lab with an egg and a sperm. That is not a natural birth. It's not any more natural than that. But just like, if people are having problems having a baby and they want a child and they decide to do that, that's okay. Just like if somebody wanted to use CBD pill to relieve their pain or to not have seizures or whatever, that's okay. God's going to see what you're using it for, whether you're using it to get high or whether you're using it for medical purposes. And everybody wants to hide behind these excuses. Oh, well, it's oh so natural. And God, every, the Bible verse about every plant bearing seed and all this. How God made that for us to use. Well, God made hops too. But he doesn't want us getting drunk all the time and high all the time. And then when the enemy comes up over the hill, you're not going to be ready because you're going to be so busy partying down at the disco bar. You ain't going to see it. And it ain't going to matter how much the watchman on the wall yells and hoot and hollers. You ain't going to be ready. And that's just the plain Jane truth about it. And I'm on here to tell you, you either get ready, just like God told me, or you're not going to be ready. You're either in or you're out. And it wasn't easy for me to hear either. It wasn't. It was like taking a binky from a baby with me. And I cried and I hooted and hollered and I wanted the binky back. And he'd give me the binky back for a little while. And then there was a point in time where he said, Ashley, you either in or you're out. You either get rid of the binky or you're not going to grow up and you're not going to be ready. You either grow up and be ready, or you're going to be like a little babe and you're not going to be ready and you're going to be deceived and it's not going to be good for you. And I'm telling you, just like he told me, out of love, you either get ready and grow up and focus on Jesus and Jesus alone, or you're not going to be ready. Period. I'm saying it out of love, just like Jesus told me out of love. And I'm sure he could say it way much better than I could. But I feel it as my duty to the best I can in the lovingest way I can to tell you guys, get ready. The enemy's coming up over the hills. And I ain't gonna go jumping on the stage in the middle of the bar to scream and hoot and holler at you. Too many times. I'm not going to keep doing that. God's not going to keep doing that. And I feel like everybody at this time knows what they're doing. And they continue to just like in the days of Noah, whatever. I'm going to continue to party. I'm going to continue to be in the world. I'm going to continue, whatever. They're 4 valleys down the way. It's not like they're on the last hill. They're they're 5 valleys away, you know? We'll deal with it when they get here. Well, let me tell you what. You have that kind of mentality, you're not going to be ready. You don't wait till the enemy gets to your wall. You know? Verse 39, and knew not until the flood come and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Verse 40, then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. In other words, you might not know when the thief is coming, so you might want to keep watch. So then that way when it does happen, you'll be there. But you're not going to know the day or the hour. You're not. You're not going to know the day or the hour. You might know the season. You know, just like he was saying, you might know, when the trees are budding and summer's coming soon. You might know the season, but you're not going to know the day and you're not going to know the hour. So when you see these signs and you see these things going on, you better be ready. You better be on the lookout. You better be sober-minded. You better not be of the desires of this world. You better be ready. At any time, any day, or any hour, Jesus could come. Then shall two be in the field, and okay, I already did that. 40 verse 42. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known what, okay, I already did that. Verse 44. Therefore, be ye also ready. Be ready. Don't pistol fart around in the world. Be ready. Therefore be also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. But as if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken. Basically, he's saying, blessed is a servant whom his Lord, he's saying this as a parable. He's saying this as an example and a metaphor. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find him doing. In other words, you don't want to be slacking on your job. You don't want to be slacking on your job. And then when the boss comes in, you're standing in the corner smoking your pot or whatever. And then your boss is like, chop, chop, get to work. No, you don't want that to happen. You want your boss to come in and you're doing something. You're sweeping the floor. You're doing whatever. That's what God's saying. Blessed is the one who's doing what they're supposed to be doing when he comes. Verily I say unto you, that shall make him ruler over all his goods. He's going to be more apt to make you ruler over the goods. He's just using this as a metaphor, as an example. He's more likely to promote you. When the boss comes in and he sees that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, instead of sitting in the corner smoking your cigarette and slacking or whatever, smoking your weed or doing whatever you're doing, you're going to be more apt to be promoted. Because he's going to walk in and go, wow, I wasn't even here, but you know what? He was aware, he was awake, he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. You're going to be more promoted. But as if he, that evil servant, shall say in his heart, but if you as an evil servant, or not a good worker, shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming. In other words, well, the boss hasn't come yet. The boss has been late for like 4 or 5 hours now. We might as well just go ahead and do whatever the hell we want to do. I mean, why continue to work? The boss ain't here yet. The car hasn't run around the corner yet. The boss ain't here, so we might as well just go ahead and do whatever we want to do. If you say that, and shall begin to smite his fellow other servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. In other words, when the boss does arrive, and the boss is going to bust down the door when they don't know it, he's going to see that and go, I'm cutting you off. Because when I busted down the door when you didn't know it, basically the boss is going to come in the back door. He ain't going to let you know when he's coming in to see whether you're working or not. And if you're like, well, the boss hasn't been here, for at least an hour or so. So, he's probably not going to come back anytime soon. So we might as well party. Woohoo, it's time to party at work. And God's saying, no, don't do that. Be ready at any time. The boss could be busting down the back door. And if you're sitting in there partying in your evil ways and in the ways of the world, you're not going to be ready. He's going to bust down that door. And he's going to go, wow, you evil servant. You want to be that worker that's sweeping the floor, that's getting things done, even though he's not there. And you're going to want to tell everybody else, sweep the floor, keep working, because the boss could come at any time. We don't know. Yes, he hasn't been here for a couple hours, but we better keep working because he could bust down the back door, and we want to be good and faithful servants. We want to be sweeping the floor and doing our job and be ready for when he does come. Not going, oh, well, you know what? Look at the time. He hasn't been here for an hour. It's 30 minutes to close. He probably ain't going to show. So we might as well party. Woo! No, don't do that. Because the second you do that, he's going to bust down the door and he's going to be like, wow. Y'all ain't doing your job. You're all fired. You know what I mean? Do you want to be ready and have him bust down the door and say, good and faithful servant, you're promoted? Or do you want him to bust down the door and see that you're partying and in the desires of this world and not be ready? And then him say, you're fired. What do you want? You either in or you out. You're either a good and faithful servant for Jesus or you're not. And that's just the plain Jane fact. And people want to be so lukewarm right now and think that it's okay. It's not okay. You either doing your job and you're going to get promoted, or you don't do your job and you're going to get fired. Sorry guys, my battery died. So, just in case my battery died before it was said, you're either going to be ready and you're going to be, the boss is going to come in the door and he's going to see that you're working and you're going to get promoted, or the boss is going to come in when you're not ready and he's going to see that you're slacking and you're going to get fired. And that's a choice you have to make. You're either going to be working and you're going to get promoted, or you're not going to be working and you're going to be in the lustful desires of this world, and you're going to. And the choice you have to make now. You have to make the choice now. So I'm going to go through comments real quick. Hopefully my battery doesn't die again, even though I have it on the charger. Hey, Joseph, thanks for coming in. Hi, Cedar, thanks for coming in. That's how churches are nowadays. They forget that they have power of Christ. Exactly. We need to be bold in Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. And say, yes, my God can do this. Yes, my God can do that. Yes, He's with me. What? Tel Aviv is being fired on by incoming rockets right now, says Daniel. Wow. It's crazy. See, you guys, we gotta be ready. We gotta be ready. Thank you, Jesus Christ, as Lord and Master. Thanks for coming in. Again, according to the scripture, thanks for coming in. I'm not saying there's no rapture. I'm saying there is no rapture before tribulation. That's why I went over the chapter in Matthew. You're not once saved, always saved. You can backslide. I don't always I don't look very good right now, so I don't want to be on the screen right now. So I just have it looking into a rock right now. The problem with the once saved, always saved mentality is, okay, for example, let's say you're a murderer, okay? And you cry out to Jesus and you say, I'm never going to murder anybody ever again. I just, I can't do it anymore. I need you, right? Okay, so he was saved from that, never murdered, decided he was never going to murder again. But then a couple years down the road, he decides that temptation comes back. Whatever that temptation is that makes that guy want to murder. And he goes off and starts murdering a bunch of people. Is he still saved? No, he's not. And to say once saved, always saved is like saying, I was saved from my sin, but that means I can just go off and sin and do whatever I want. That's the problem with the once saved, always saved mentality. I don't believe in the once saved, always saved. I think you can backslide back into unsalvation. Because murderers don't get into heaven. Liars don't get into heaven. Unclean things do not get into the kingdom of God. And this once saved, always saved mentality makes people think that they can just go off and sin mimbly bimbly. It's not a good mentality to have, the once saved, always saved. It's not good. That's right, Joseph. The best is coming in the next life. So no matter whether we're martyred or we die of starvation or whatever it is during tribulation, our job is to spread the good news of Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. Not this once saved, always saved. Not this, you're going to be raptured out before hard times come. Because people are like, well, I'm going to be raptured out. I'm once saved, always saved, so I can do whatever the hell I want and get away with whatever I want. Jesus loves me, so therefore I can do whatever I want, and it doesn't matter. People just think that since they believe that they just have this free ticket. And God judges us all individually by our hearts. I'm not here to say who's going to heaven, who's going to hell, or whatever. But no, I'm not for once saved, always saved. And I'm not for the pre-tribulation rapture because it's not biblical. And that's why I went through this chapter. To get people to realize that Jesus told us and his disciples when they asked him, when are we going to know when the end of days comes? And he told them in order, what was going to happen. And you can go on this Bible verse or that Bible verse, and you can argue with me here and there about, well, what about Isaiah, and what about this, and what about this, what somebody said, what about that somebody said. And you guys just want to believe that it's once saved, always saved, and that you can just do whatever you want, and as long as you believe, then it's no big deal to, smoke pot, and to party, and to this, and to that. And then your boss is going to bust down the door, meaning Jesus Christ, and then the day that you don't know. Exactly. You can take any Bible verse you want and make it say whatever you would like it to say. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people will take John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth upon him will have everlasting life. And everybody takes that verse and says, well, everybody's saved. All you got to do is believe and say the sinner's prayer. And that's all you got to do. You can do whatever you want. You can sin, and you can have sex, and you can murder people, and you can do whatever you want. As long as you believe Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, you can do whatever you want. And it's no big deal because you believe in Jesus Christ. Well, what about the murderers who believe in Jesus Christ? What about the pedophiles who believe in Jesus Christ? What about those people? What if they believe in Jesus Christ? They believe. What if they believe? So does that mean that they're all good? No, I don't think so. That's why I have a problem with the once saved, always saved. And this whole let's just believe, but not try to change. No, you have to change. You got to quit murdering. You got to quit being a molester. You got to quit. You got to try your hardest to not sin. And we're all going to fall short. I'm not saying anybody is perfect. Only Jesus is the only one that didn't sin. But we have to try everything we got to not be of this world. and to focus on Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, and His will in our lives, and to spread the gospel. And the good news is, yes, you can be saved from your sins. But like I said before, when the adulterous woman was thrown down at Jesus' feet, He said, "You are forgiven, but go and sin no more." And this whole once saved, always saves means, oh, you're forgiven, and then you're just forgiven. It doesn't matter what you do. No, Jesus said you're forgiven, go sin no more. And we are not saved by our works either. Lest any man boast. We have to have both. We have to try to not sin. And we are saved from our failures. You know, and God is going to judge us upon our hearts. He's going to know when we're like, man, I slipped up and I shouldn't have slipped up, and I'm going to just try my hardest to never do that again. And God knows when we're trying. But you can't just say, well, I said the sinner's prayer, so I'm good. I believe, so I'm good. You can't. No. You gotta try. You gotta try real hard to do the best you can with everything you got to not sin anymore. You know what I mean? Just like I said the other night, I had a small glass of wine. You know? Does that mean I'm going to hell? No. Could I not have had the glass of wine? Well, yeah, probably. Know what I mean? I mean, come on, you guys. It's not once saved, always saved. Just because you believe in Jesus doesn't get you a free ticket. You don't just get a free ticket, guys. At the same time, though, there is two different ways of believing. Just because you believe that Justin does not mean you believe in him. What I'm saying is you gotta believe in Jesus, but you also have to try the hardest you can to not sin anymore. And this once saved, always saved mentality makes people feel like that they can just go sin nimbly bimbly and it's no big deal. That all you have to do is believe. That's all you got to do is believe. And there's so much more to it than that. Like, how much do you want to follow Jesus? Do you want to just follow him halfway? Or do you want to follow him all the way? I mean, really, ask yourself that. But anyway, I gotta get off here. I gotta get ready to go out to eat with my mom. And go to the studio, make some music for Jesus. Okay, Joseph, I probably just completely misinterpreted what you said, you know. You know, it's hard sometimes when you're reading people's comments to fully understand what they're saying. I mean, we're supposed to be on fire for Jesus. Not just, well, I believe, you know, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to do the bare minimum. And you know what? I'm good with that. I mean, how would you feel if you were in a relationship with somebody and they're like, well, I'm just gonna do the bare minimum today, and you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you want? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, when you're in a relationship with somebody, and this is just an example, like, like we're the bride and God's the groomman, kind of example. Like, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you're like, you know what? Well, we got married, and so we're good. So I can go out and cheat on you, and I can go out and, not even help with the dishes, or not help with the laundry, or not try to help with the kids, or whatever, because we're married, so I believe, so good enough. No! You gotta try to help. And marriage comes with sacrifice. Just like with Jesus, it comes with sacrifice. You have to try to not to sin. You got to try to do the dishes every now and then to show that person that you love them and you care about them. You got to try to not sin. So you show Jesus Christ that you love him and you serve him. You got to try to help out with the kids. You got to, you know what I mean? And that's the problem with the once saved, always saved. It's so, well, I believe we're good to go. Well, I married him, so we're good to go. So that means I can do whatever I want. I can just sit on my ass or I can just, I can just sit on my butt and play Xbox all day. And then wonder why your significant other walks in the room and is all like, what the hell, dude? Or what the hell, chick? Couldn't you help me out a little bit and like clean the dishes at least, or help me do the laundry, or help, bathe the kids, or help take the kids to school or whatever? And the person just sits there and says, nope, we got married. Nope, I believe. Good enough. I mean, is that really all you're willing to do? I mean, ask yourself, is that all you're willing to do? Is that how much you love Jesus Christ? That's all you're willing to do? It's like you're willing to believe in Jesus, you're willing to get married to that person, but you're not willing to do what it takes to show that love and that passion and that intimacy and that fire. That's what Jesus wants. He wants that passion and that intimacy and that fire inside of you. And this whole I believe and I'm good to go crap might not be good enough. And I say might because I'm not the judge. But you know what I mean? I'm not going to let people be on a slippery slope. Because a might is not a very good... I don't like mights. I want to be sure. I want to be sure. I don't want to be lukewarm. Like I said, I ain't perfect, and I'm not sitting on here saying I'm any more better than anybody else. But I don't want to be lukewarm. I don't want to be lukewarm anymore. You can give all the excuses you want, and you can put up whatever Bible verse you want to make it say whatever you want, to give whatever excuses you want. No, it's not once saved, always saved. And I think I've proven my point on that. Tired of the excuses, people. I mean, you're either in or you're not. You're either in or you're not. And let me tell you what, I had to go through that myself. God was real gentle, but very hard on me about that too. He's like, you're either going to follow me all the way or you're not. Make your choice, Ashley, because there's not time. There's not time. And I'm just doing the same thing he did to me right now for you guys. There's not time. You're either all in or you're not. You're either going to sacrifice time to do what it takes in your marriage or you're not. As an example. Believing in Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, is a big part of it, but you have to try. You can't just say, oh, well, I believe, and then we're good to go. It'd be just like marrying somebody and saying, we're good to go, and I don't have to do anything else. No. You got to take time and effort into that marriage. And God expects that too out of us. If you truly love Jesus, you're going to take time and effort. And not just say, well, I believe in you, we're all good to go. You have to seriously ask yourself, how much do you really love Jesus? Are you going to do what it takes? And I have to ask myself that every day when I wake up. So I'm not just putting it all on you. It's on me too. Everybody wants the sugar-coated, crispy little, or soft whatever, cookie. And they don't want to do any of the baking or any of the work or any of it that it takes to get that cookie. They just want their cookie and they want it now. No. You want the cookie, you're going to have to mix it up, you're going to have to do the work, and you got to put it in the oven, and you got to work on it, and you got to put the icing on it, and you got to put the sprinkles on top. You got to work. You got to do what Jesus' will is for your life. You can't just, oh, I believe, and then continue to be in the ways of the world, and then just expect a cookie to just appear. You can backslide out of your salvation. That's just the truth. I mean, you can be saved from your sin, but you're supposed to change. You're supposed to be a new creature in Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. Not just I believe and I'm good to go and I get a get out of free hell card. I can't wait to eat cookies in heaven with you, Joseph. It's going to be awesome. Everybody thinks this following Jesus thing is so easy. It's not. It's not easy. God never said it was going to be easy. He never said, just believe in me and we're all good. No. He said, believe in me and go sin no more. We're all going to fall short, but we need to try the best we can. Okay, for example, when you're making that cookie and you're trying the best you can to make these delicious cookies, and you're working the best you can to make a good batch of cookies, right? And then as you're taking them out of the pan, one of them breaks in half. You're like, crap! I screwed up. That one cookie's broken in half now. Does that make the whole batch, or even that one cookie that broke in half, not good, not edible? No, it's still edible. So, you're good to go. But if you don't work at all, you ain't trying at all, and you're just throwing the dough into the bowl, and you're not putting this in it, and you're not putting that in it, and then you throw it in the pan, and then you put it on 575 degrees, and they're all burned, and then they fall on the floor. No, they get thrown away. Thrown away. There's the difference between a little mess up, like the cookie being broken in half. Does that mean you throw the whole pot out and the cookies are good? No, the cookies are still good. But if you're so half-assed and you're so lukewarm that you're not putting the work in it, you're not putting the eggs in, you're not putting the vanilla extract in, you're not putting the flour in, or you're not doing this, and then when you put them in the oven, you just throw it in there without a pan, or you put it in there and you got it on 575,000 degrees and they're burned. And then you take them out of the pan and you're so careless with your belief and you're so careless with your passion for Jesus that you throw the cookies on the floor. Those cookies aren't good anymore. Those cookies are going to be thrown away. Jesus has grace enough to where that half of messed up cookie is still good. He's not going to throw the whole batch out just because of one little break in the side of a cookie. But if you're so lukewarm that your cookies are burnt, they got dirt all on them off the floor, were cooked at 5,050 degrees, he's going to throw them away. You got to make sure that you're putting in enough work, that you're trying as hard as you can. Not saying that you're not going to mess up. But if you're not trying as hard as you can, you're going to be delivering burnt cookies. I mean, burned to a crisp cookies. And God's going to go, I don't want these. You know what I mean? Do you want to give your Lord and Savior wonderful fruits, spiritual fruits? Or do you want to go to heaven and then give your God burnt fruits that's nasty and unedible, where he can't even accept it because they're so burnt and they're so nasty and they're so unclean that he has to throw it out? That's the perfect example. If you're not willing to put in the passion and the love and everything you got to love Jesus, do what his will is for your life, you're going to backslide. And then before you know it, you're going to be offering unclean fruit. And the problem with unclean fruit is you're giving all these burnt cookies, not only to God, but you're giving all these burnt cookies to everybody else. And then they're going to start making burnt cookies. There is no, you're either a good tree or you're a bad tree. You're either going to provide good fruit or you're going to provide bad fruit. And it says in the Bible that the trees that provide bad fruit are going to be hewn down and casted into the fire. You know, I was watching a guy several years ago, where he had these trees out in his... Exactly, Joseph. That's exactly how once saved, always saved is. It's okay to have bad fruit on your tree, and then you expect to not be hewn down and casted into the fire. So anyways, several years ago, I was watching this guy, and he was tending to his land. He was on his tractor and everything, and he has all these beautiful big trees on his land. And there was 2 trees that had all of these Japanese beetles. You know, when the Japanese beetles got transferred over here somehow, and they were like killing trees and stuff. And he had the choice. He either had to burn those true trees down, the 2 that were infested with Japanese beetles, or he was going to risk all of the other trees on his land to get infected by these Japanese beetles. And as an example, that's the same thing God's doing. He has to burn those 2 trees down, or he sacrifices the rest of the good trees that are going to produce good fruit. You don't want the rest of your trees to get infected with Japanese beetles. So he had to kill those other 2 trees and cast them into a fire to save the rest of the trees in his property. That's the exact same thing as the parable of the fruit trees. Exact same parable, exact same metaphor. For the most part. You're either going to produce good fruit and you're going to survive and you're going to have that passion and that love for Jesus and you're going to produce good fruit. And it's a lifestyle, you guys. It's a lifestyle. You can't just go simming off bimbly bimbly and expect to produce good fruit. Or you're going to produce bad fruit and you're going to live in the way of the world. And God's going to go, there's no good fruit on that tree. And he's going to hew it down and throw it in the fire, just like that guy had to do to the 2 trees that were infected with Japanese beetles. It's the same thing. Everybody just wants this free ticket to go and sin. And that all I got to do is believe and I can go sin and I can do whatever I want. And I can go hurt whoever I want and I can go do whatever I want to myself and then expect that there's going to be good fruit coming out of you. Like you expect to be making good cookies when you're burning them and you're not putting the ingredients and you're not making the work to do it. And then you expect like this beautiful batch of cookies to come out. Jesus died for the one little cookie that has one little piece that fell off. He didn't die for the ones that burn their cookies up, smash them on the ground into a million pieces, and then he goes, look, I believed, so accept me. He can't accept unclean cookies. Can't accept unclean fruit. But you're right, Joseph, I'm just babbling. I'm just continuing to just yap my mouth off. I need to get ready. So I love everybody that come in. Thank you, Joseph, for coming in. Thank you, Jesus Christ as Lord and Master, for coming in. Thank you, according to the scripture, for coming in. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. And I hope that this message edified you. Thank you, Daniel, for coming in, brother. I've been loving your Galatians Bible studies that you've been doing. Thank you, Salted Cedar, for coming in. You know, we might not agree on everything, but I still do love all you guys. You know, I might not agree with you, and you might not agree with me. You know, whatever. But I'm still going to come on here and passionately tell you the truth. The time for sugarcoating is over. So I love all you guys. Thanks for coming in again. Love and peace.